Official Neves bid in. Is he going to be part of Manchester United's new look midfield next season, which actually might have Sofian Amrabat in it as well? No Casemiro. Is Neves the replacement? More on what happened with Casemiro and Amrabat and what Amrabat's brother has been saying with them revelations regarding that FA Cup final, why Casemiro was not even on the bench. Interesting read on that one. Manchester United have a new communications officer as well. I think we can all agree that we do need some better communication from United, but what that means for us fans, I do not know. Still no decision on Ten Hag. It rolls on and on and on, but let's talk football. Let's talk about what's important, which is the playing staff at Manchester United, where the transfer merry-go-round is taking us today. First of all, starting off with Neves. Please do give the video a like, guys. Get subscribing to the channel. If you do that, you can get involved in the live chat, of which there are many people in there already. Good morning, hello everybody. Another early start here in the Dominican. Everything is up and running. Obviously, we're looking at Manchester United's situation with midfield, probably one of the key areas. There's a lot of talk this morning regarding João Neves from Benfica, the young bulldozing midfielder. He has been touted as one of the best prospects in world football at the moment. We've heard about Bruno Fernandes talking him up. We've heard about Bruno Fernandes saying that he is the next big thing coming from Portugal regarding that central midfield. He's already in the international squad. He's in the squad for the Euros as well, so United fans can get a good look at him. Obviously, with the Euros being just a couple of weeks away, no move is likely at all. He's obviously already in the Portuguese squad, training in preparation for the Euros. And like we said, and one of our biggest fears was, look, the Euros is going to get right in the way of the transfer market this summer for Manchester United, which is why everyone's kind of peed off that Ineos really haven't got things going early, as soon as the season has finished. In fact, other clubs have done this, United haven't. Players like Neves, players that we want to get in and integrated into the team with whatever manager that we are going to start the season with, it's all going to be interrupted by the Euros. There's not much time. The good thing about Neves, and we'll talk about what's actually been said and what's going on, first of all, the good thing about Neves is obviously he has got Bruno Fernandes there. If we do make a move for him, he's got Bruno there, he's got Dalot there, players he knows from the international setup. So maybe we'll have a Bruno Dalot scouting mission this Euros, just trying to get Neves through the door. That would be interesting on its own. But yeah, get your comments in on Neves. I've done a poll already. Is Neves the right type of midfielder Manchester United need to buy? Already 86% of you have said yes on that side of things. I can see a lot of people in the chat already going in on the price. How can Manchester United afford Neves when Benfica reportedly want 86 million quid for him? As you can see at the bottom of your screen there running across, Manchester United have already submitted a bid of around 51 million for Benfica's João Neves, which has been rejected by the club. They want at least 85 million. That's coming from Record Portugal, so the media over there in Portugal regarding that bid that's come in. 51 million seems like a decent opening bid for Manchester United, quite a substantial amount of money. So Neves is rated very, very highly by Benfica. He's one of them, a crop of players that they produce continuously, it would seem. They are masters at it. Now, Manchester United's position on Neves is it's probably not too bad. Obviously, we have just done a deal with Benfica with Alvaro Fernandes. They have triggered the buy-on clause from the loan that Alvaro in the last 6 months has been running through to the back end of the season that they had over there in Portugal. So Alvaro has gone, I think it was around about, I think it rising up to possibly 10 million euros eventually. So Manchester United have already got a good relationship with Benfica. They're probably tapping into that, I would have thought, and gone, you know what, let's just see what we can use here to our advantage with this Neves deal, because we are going to need to pull out something out of the hat to get this over the line. Like, everybody knows that Manchester United are not going to, we're probably not going to go up to 85 million for Neves. But what I wanted to do in this show this morning is break down why Manchester United can afford Neves. And again, a lot of people forget about how the football finance side of thing actually works in football, and that is that Manchester United are not going to spend 80 million, 85 million straight out on a player. It's going to be in 3 season instalments, broken down, so 80 divided by 3, broke that down over payments. Obviously his wages are not going to be very high, so that balances things. So in financial fair play terms, including agents' fees, wages and transfer fee, it would cost Manchester United for say £100 million player, 30 million a season, just over 30 million a season, and that's how it works. That's how the finances work in football, and that's how Manchester United would make this happen. So if you look at what's been said so far, and the reason that I think Neves has come to light and the stories, now you could say it's just been brought up because of the Casemiro situation. The Casemiro situation and them ludicrous bids that we were hearing about yesterday, about what, upwards of 70 million for Casemiro going to the Saudi League, like that just basically opens up all avenues altogether. But if Manchester United could scrape together 30 or 40 million for Casemiro, then Manchester United can 100% buy João Neves, because the first payment, and like we said, like if you imagine it just being just over 30 million a season for 3 seasons to buy a £100 million player on 200 grand a week wages, Neves isn't going to be on 200 grand a week wages, not a chance. And he's what I think United will probably bid him in, get him in around about 70, 75 million. Whether you think he's worth that or not, that's another debate altogether. But just in terms of how Manchester United structure this deal for Neves, it's quite clear. They can afford to buy Neves. It's just if Ineos want to buy Neves. It's simple mathematics. It's simple financial fair play rules and how you get around it. Let's not forget the wages that we have lost in Varane, in Anthony Martial, which we're going to lose in Casemiro as well. And if we can get a fee for Casemiro on top of that, opens up Manchester United's possibilities. Now, we are in for a central midfielder. That was one of the 3 players that we need. So you've got the centre-back, you've got the central midfielder, and you've got the centre-forwards. United's budget, somewhere in the region, without selling players, was what? I think it was probably around about 130, 150. When you look at the books and you look at the finances that are available, that's what's been going around. So Neves would take a big chunk out of that. But what we need to remember is that's calculated within instalments, not what we can spend actually in one summer, straight out fees. It's like nobody pays for a mortgage straight out, do they? No one pays for a house straight out. Everyone's mortgaged up. Same with cars. It's just financing, basically. That's how it works, and that's what Manchester United's books are run. So what Ineos are trying to do is cut corners in them books to make it easier for Manchester United to buy a player like Neves over a longer period of time. And let's be honest, Neves is the right profile of player. He's young, dynamic, he's got a big future, he's got massive sell-on factor if it comes to that as well for Manchester United. And it's a safe buy for Ineos. Even at 70, 80 million, it's probably safe because of the age that he is. We just have to make sure that he's a good enough player. That's the only question brought into this conversation right now with Neves. Is he good enough for Manchester United? That's the only question that needs asking. Because Manchester United can more than afford him, and it would not be an issue for him. We have been scouting Neves for a long time. He brings up all of the questions regarding where's Manchester United structure, what's happening under Ineos, but Neves, I feel, is that type of midfielder that will come in and cover Casemiro. He is the perfect replacement for Casemiro. And I think Manchester United, if we're willing to go into a 51 million open bid, I think that shows that Manchester United are more than capable of getting Neves over the line. And I think we will get that. I think we will get that deal done. I'm pretty confident we will get that deal done. If Ineos want Neves, then United can make that happen. Not a problem at all financially. We're back in the Europa League. I think it was reported off the financial figures from the Swedish Ramble account on Twitter, where Manchester United, if in the Europa League, can afford to spend 250 million without sales. That's because of the financial fair play setup and the way that football finances are run, and in the instalments side of things is run, like I just said then. So that's why Manchester United are looking into Neves. That would be our midfielder option. Obviously, we've talked about centre-backs. It's good that we've actually brought up a midfielder and there's one being linked. And I don't know if that Portugal record report is actually true and Manchester United have already made that bid. But if it is the case that we have made that bid for Neves, then I think Manchester United are moving in the right direction in terms of playing staff. Obviously, we've got the carnage, the absolute mess and shambles, which is Ineos right now in trying to get this Ten Hag situation sorted. But I'm just hoping that we are just cracking on with business elsewhere as well. And that's what people who are at Manchester United are doing their job-wise. Like Ineos, when they do decide to pull the plug on Ten Hag or give him the new contract or whatever it is, that'd be great. But I know that Ten Hag, I think it's been reported that Ten Hag actually likes Neves. He is a keen admirer of him. He's got the right work rate and what he needs in a midfielder. His injury record is exemplary again. He's young, you'd expect it to be that way, but you've also got to look at why he would come into Manchester United, why we would buy him, because we are short in midfield. Clearly, we have got the issue with Amrabat and whether he stays or not. We're going to talk about him in a minute. First of all, I just want to get your opinions on Neves going into this. And then you're looking at Bruno Fernandes' situation. Like we just talked about why Bruno might go yesterday and over the last couple of days. Now we're looking at Bruno possibly being the key to bringing Neves to Manchester United. I said it yesterday. I said, I don't think Bruno will go to the Saudi League. I think Florian Plettenberg has come out and said that Bayern Munich are interested in Bruno Fernandes, but not actively chasing him at the moment. There's a lot that needs to play out over the summer with a lot of moving parts for Manchester United right now. But one thing for certain is that Casemiro is definitely going to be leaving Manchester United this summer. And I'll get into that now. I just want to get some of your questions in first. He's good enough, but will Ineos spend that money? I doubt it, Adam. That's the big question, Wayne. Basically, we have to be smart with our money. If Neves starts and plays in the Euros, we go for him. If he doesn't, he isn't ready for the Premier League. The problem you've got with that there, if he does start and play in the Euros, he attracts attention, the price goes up for Benfica, and United gets stuck into a bidding war. So there's two sides to the argument of playing time. I understand what Mark's saying there. He has to be ready for the Premier League, and United can afford him. If that price goes up by 10, 15 million because of the Euros performances, it's just the price you have to pay for a quality player. So United will just have to refinance everything, and they won't like to do it. They won't like to pay more than the odds, but sometimes you have to get that right type of player in. And in the situation United are in right now, beggars cannot be choosers. We have to get this midfield sorted and get back into the Champions League. It is a big part of the issue at Manchester United, because at the moment there's no commitment to Amrabat coming in. Casemiro looks like he's out completely. Bruno Fernandes is up in the air. Eriksen, I think, will leave. He's too old, he can't play a full season anyway. Mason Mount is too injury prone. Manchester United's midfield is an absolute sham. It's a mess right now. And yes, we've had a great end to the season in the FA Cup because we managed to get a few players fit again. But for longevity, we need to sort this midfield out. We need to get players in of the right quality. Neves, I think, fits the mould, definitely. And him alongside a Kobe Mainu, I get excited about that. The young, vibrant midfield that we've got. Big future for it. We can build a team around players like that. And then it's just a case of finding out who that number 10 is going to be. Are we going to take a couple of years to find a decent Bruno replacement if he stays one more year? Do we cash in on Bruno this season and try and find another one? And then we go into the season with a completely different looking midfield. Now, in terms of what else is happening with the midfield, Amrabat I've mentioned there, and the conversation with him and Casemiro and what's happening there. I mean, it's an interesting one. I'm just going to read out what Nordin Amrabat said. That's Sofian's brother. Today, during an interview on television, it was suggested that my brother only played in the cup final due to an injury to another player. My response to this was pure speculation, and my only motivation was to defend my brother, who was on the field due to his own merit and hard work. My words have been taken out of context. There was no ill intention whatsoever, and to suggest another player chose not to play is wrong. I don't know what happened on the day, so let's move on from this non-story. So he's basically covering what he said, or what he was quoted as saying, that Amrabat played in midfield, putting 2 and 2 together, simply because Casemiro was not happy that he wasn't in the starting lineup and didn't want to play on the bench. I can only go off what I seen. Honestly, it was jubilant scenes at Wembley. Everyone who was there will say the same thing, but Casemiro looked like a forlorn figure. Like he looks like he just wasn't really interested in the end. He was getting involved in the celebrations and that, but when you can just tell from a player's or somebody's body language that it was just like, it looked like the end. It did with Casemiro. It looked like the end. And it's good that Amrabat's brothers come out and quashed all of that argument and everything like that. Because the last thing we need right now is more midfield, not more midfield, but more player unrest and more leaks and everything like that coming out of the football club. So I'm happy that he's come out and done that, but still it doesn't take away the fact that Casemiro, I don't think, was injured. I think he did. I think he was upset that he wasn't in the starting lineup. And no smoke without fire with rumours like this. I think Casemiro will end up leaving Manchester United this summer. I think obviously we know from what we spoke about yesterday that Ineos have never really been keen on that purchase. We're not going to see players come in of that age anymore at Manchester United. I've seen a conversation before went live. I think it was Mark and someone else regarding Paulinho as being the perfect midfielder for Manchester United from Fulham. Well, Paulinho going into his late 20s again. United, and I agree with what Mark said in that comment, is United will not buy anyone of that age for substantial money. It would have to be a free transfer or someone very cheap that they don't need to worry about sell-on money for or anything like that. You cannot buy players 28, 29 for the likes of 60, 70 million. They're not going to do that, Ineos. It has to be the younger profile. It goes back to that 5 rule thing as well that Ineos are now implementing at Manchester United with the new manager or whoever the manager is coming in. And you know what? It may just have been put up there. It may have been made up. People putting 2 and 2 together again in the media. But still, you look at it and you do look at that 25-year cut-off. I think 26, 27 is okay at the right price. But if you're going to spend big, the player does have to be under 25. So they have got that safeguard of finances and everything, which is going to give them the option to sell players on in the future as well. I'm just checking some news that was just sent over to me. 1 second. Oh yeah, apparently the number 9 shirt is going to Rasmus Højlund next season. I've just seen that click up there then. Let's get into the chat and see what you guys are saying regarding all of this. Adam, you say Eriksen will leave, but who can afford his wages? He's not on mega money, mate, to be honest. And I think he'll just take a pay cut at the way he is. I don't think Manchester United... If United can get any fee for Eriksen, then they've pulled off an absolute masterclass. The word is that Eriksen's just going to be let go on a free. So it's not really going to cost anyone that much money. That's what it'll be. Director of Football, I would wait after all our sales, including Bruno, to Saudi and buy 3 midfielders. Only top class will do. Neves will be a fan's favourite, but that is actually the issue. He's another Europa level player. Ooh, is he now? We don't know. This is where Ineos are going to be judged as well. It's a fair comment. Like, we've got no proof that he is going to make it. We haven't got proof with any player coming to Manchester United. No one is ever a dead cert. It's like Bruno Fernandes coming from Sporting. He looked fantastic in the Portuguese league, and he's come to the Premier League, and he's just embodied everything that was needed for Manchester United at the time. You just don't know. Rasmus Højlund, 60, 70 million gamble on a player that scored 9 goals last season. He ends up in what has been a injury hit, poor performing, worst ever Manchester United season. He's ended up being the top scorer at the football club, and people forget that. These players that have come through, I think the jury's out with Onana as well, the pressure that he's under. It's hard work. There's no guarantee that Neves is going to make it, no. But I don't think we can just label him a Europa League level player, not just yet. There are definitely other big teams in for João Neves as well. It's not just United as you would expect it to be. So I think with that, it's just a case of recruitment. We have been scouting him for an awful long time. And I think it's good. I think like what Mark said earlier on as well in the chat, we will see him in the Euros. We'll see what he's made of. He is in one of the best Portugal sides there has been in years. So let's see how he handles himself in that. Hopefully he has a good Euros. Not too good to a point where other clubs come in. But you're looking at other big clubs around the world right now. Luckily, Real Madrid are stacked in midfield, so we can't lose him to Real Madrid. So that's a good thing. But other clubs around, I think Liverpool have been nosing around João Neves as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who else is actually in for him. But how long can you wait? Like, let's get rid of the players as quickly as possible. That's a great idea. But in doing that, we run the risk. It's like, all of a sudden, you know, the teams like Chelsea around, and it's not just Chelsea that do this. There's other teams around. It's like, we're hearing about Adebayo getting committed game time at Newcastle, negotiations going on there, looking like he's pretty much set and done to join Newcastle. Manchester United are also waiting in the wings as well, and then bang, one day, one story, one headline, and he's gone to Chelsea. He's already done, signed. Here we go, Romano. That's what happens. Other clubs will come in and offer these players the world. Now, I think we're safe with Chelsea on this occasion because likes of Caicedo, obviously Enzo Fernandez, players like this are already in position at Chelsea. So it's not like they need midfielders. So the worry that we've got with Neves is that someone else could always come around and take him off us. And that's the only fear I've got with it, really. I like the player. I think he is. I think he is good enough to come to Manchester United from what I've seen. We've got a good relationship with Benfica now, like I said, because of the situation with Alvaro Fernandez. So you can take maybe, if you want to do some balancing and play a little bit of FIFA or Championship Manager, maybe take 7 million off the price of whatever Neves is because we've sold Alvaro to Benfica already. Let's not forget, he won't be on massive, massive wages, so that's going to help the financial side. And United can afford to bring him in. With financial fair play and the way it's set up, we can afford to bring Neves to the football club. So I think this deal works all around for Manchester United. Amrabat and whether he's staying, that comes up with next. I do think that we are looking at Neves because we have got something in the pipeline for Casemiro to go. I think the talks going that have been going around for a while now of him going to Saudi open up the avenues for a new deal. For a deal for Neves there, I feel. And Amrabat staying. I mean, the stories coming out about Amrabat, and I don't know if you guys have read them as well. It's like he begged Ten Hag to play in the Arsenal game, and obviously Manchester United lost that game, but that game was the reason apparently why Ten Hag played him in the final. It's Amrabat's attitude, I feel, that Ten Hag was looking at in that game, and that's why he played him. Let's not forget, Ten Hag has always said, and he's always called Martial out on this thing, I need to see him want to play. He has to want to play. And like Amrabat has done absolutely everything that he possibly can to get into that Manchester United side. Players like that, they're the players like what Lisandro Martinez was like. It's like literally 3 days back into training. It's like, play me against Arsenal, play me, I want to play. And Ten Hag had to do everything not to play him. Like he had to just sit him back and say, look, it's not ready. We've done mistakes earlier on in the season. We're bringing players back too early and everyone's got injured because they're not fully recovered. And then he gradually brought him through. It's players like that with that attitude that I think Ten Hag was looking at bringing in and playing at Manchester United. And I just don't understand because Amrabat's attitude cannot have just changed towards the back end of the season. He's been here all year. And all of a sudden, he's begging and knocking on the manager's door right towards the end. Did he pick up on something that might have been happening, or an opportunity? Maybe word spread that Casemiro was on his way out and he sees the opportunity of staying at Manchester United. So why wasn't Amrabat knocking on the door and have this attitude earlier on in the season? Or maybe he did, and Ten Hag realised later on in the season when his job was on the line that he had to start giving other players a chance, because we did see a change in tack from Ten Hag towards the back end of the season. He did start mixing it up and starting to be a little bit more adaptable with his selections, with his style of play and his formations on the pitch as well. Tactically, it did change, and we've seen a little bit. I'm not jumping to defend Ten Hag here because I won't forget the rest of the season, but it all seemed a little too late for him in how he was trying to adapt things. But it just confuses me. Like, I'm buzzing with the fact that Amrabat has this attitude and wants to play, and he's basically begging the manager to come in. But surely he would have been doing that at the start of the season, so why was Ten Hag ignoring him? And he was ignoring him because he was available for most of the season, Amrabat. He just didn't bring him in. So that's the question I've got, and that's the concern I've got with it in terms of Ten Hag. Well, maybe he's seen the light and actually thought, you know what, I have been doing this wrong. Like we've said all along, look, Ten Hag doesn't take any responsibility for mistakes he's made. Maybe he is doing it silently by playing the likes of Amrabat and accepting that he was wrong and not giving him a chance earlier on in the season. You could be looking at a midfield of Neves, Amrabat, Mainu, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Scott McTominay next season. I think that's, should be enough. I don't know how bad the injuries are going to be next season, but that's not a bad setup midfield. It's got a good balance to it. Mason Mount, I said Mason Mount, I'm pretty certain in that as well there. You've got plenty of options further forward. You've got plenty of options for the deep sitting role as well there. And with the younger players coming through as well from the academy, I think that's a good blend. So going in with Neves, keeping Amrabat, you could maybe sell Casemiro. If you wanted to sell Bruno, it wouldn't be the end of the world because we get a big chunk of money for him and we could bring in another midfielder if wanted. But the midfield situation right now, I'm pretty confident if we go in at this angle, I'm pretty confident that we can actually get start the season with a decent looking midfield setup. Hopefully we can sort out the defence as well. I'm going to come into the chat because I've been going on for a bit there, see what you guys say. I really hope we don't play Menu as a CDM. He's much better going forward and attacking. Leo, dead right, he was an attacking midfielder for the under-21s. The season before he came in, I was watching a lot of the under-21s and he is better as an 8/10. Like 8 max, I think he's definitely his best position. I don't, like some will say, like he hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got blistering pace, Kobbie Mainoo. So as an 8, getting up and down the pitch, I'm not too sure because he has been bypassed a few times this season on the counter and in transition. That's not his fault. It's like you're naturally blessed with pace or you're not. You can work in it all you want, but you're not going to make him get any quicker right now. So maybe being in that, and he is quick of feet. Don't get me wrong, like over 5 yards and with the ball, he's sharp, he's fast. But in a sprint, I would prefer him probably further up the field. I like Amrabat sat deep. Neves, when you bring him in, where do you play him? Because he plays in that 6/8 role as well. He's a bit of a destroyer himself. He's great on the ball. His touch is phenomenal. And that really bodes well for us. So it'd be interesting to see how we go about it. Like, if we do keep Amrabat and we have got João Neves, I think we're stacked in the holding midfield role then. I think we're okay for that. By the way, guys, please give the video a like. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button as well. Share the video. Let's get people in on the conversation. Drop into the description, guys, as well for all our links to everything else that's going on. United Couple, episode 7 here from the Dominican is out now on that site as well. So make sure you go over to the channel, give it a subscribe. The link is below. All our partners and our sponsors, Optimally Me and SofaScore as well, are in there below, guys. So go and check them out. Thank you very much. Get your comments coming in. Gareth says, at least we have a chance of actually getting targeted players with time now. That Murto and Arnold circus is not involved in his negotiations. Well, we hope so. I think what's happening with a lot of the fan base right now is a little bit of concern because nothing's happening with Ten Hag. We're waiting on this big decision with him. Is this what it's going to be like with players as well? Like taking an age to get deals done and getting deals over the line. I think that's a big concern of a lot of United fans right now. But still, I would hope it's going to be different. I agree with you on that one. Adam, would you take Neves or Ederson? I mean, I like Ederson, I do. He's impressive. When it comes to money, I would take Neves, but it's a good question. If it was Emerson and buying a better player for an attacker or the defence what we need, I would probably go down the Ederson road if it worked out financially, if that makes sense. I do think we can afford both. I'm not one of these that's being convinced by United having no money at all. I know we've got money. I know we can spend money. It's just if Ineos want to do it. Like, if they get rid of everyone they want to get rid of, I expect Manchester United to spend 250 million to 300 million this summer on new players. But it is if Manchester United do get rid of who we need to, and we all know who's on that list. Jonathan says, I would like to see a Nana with a settled ball-playing back four and decent midfield. Yeah, because Ten Hag has come in and said, look, he brought a Nana in to play out from the back, and he's passing. And that's been shocking. Whether or not you can blame the defence, blame the keeper, a keeper loves to have a settled defence in front of him where he knows where they're going to be, where he knows how to play the ball to him, what foot to play the ball to, what positions to play the ball to him. That's not been settled this season, and you could probably argue a case for Onana in his distribution because of the unsettled nature of Manchester United's defence this season. Ten Hag has been big on that as well this season. So I think he's sort of defending the goalkeeper a little bit by also saying, look, the inconsistent defence hasn't helped the goalkeeper. It never does, but maybe the defence is the same way. Maybe the defence is saying, look, we're not confident with Onana. They need to feel confident with a good goalkeeper behind them. So it'll be interesting to see second season syndrome with Onana and what's actually happening in that, and what happens in that situation as well. Alan Brazil, as he is, he's better than anything we have. That's a bit of an insult, Carl. The main thing for me is the manager situation is addressed. I know boxing, I know you want that sorting. It does need to be done. Like, it do these players want to play under Ten Hag? It's like when people have said, like, agents are looking in and players are looking in at United, and the unsettled nature of what's going on with the manager and everything there. You have to take that and go, well, yeah. You would be, wouldn't you? You want to know who the manager's going to be before you sign for the football club, because he's the day-to-day. That's the relationship that the player looks at more than anything. And we've seen that, and we've seen the fallout this season with players. And obviously when you go on international duty as well, and this always happens, and I always go on about this, but players talk. So players of other clubs talk, and there could be like, for instance, Neves going away with Portugal to the Euros. He's in with Dalot. He's in with Bruno. Obviously, you've got the two City lads there as well. A few other City lads in Diaz and Bernardo Silva. And so they'll all be like talking and getting into each other and everything like that and finding out what's right. And you know what? It does have an effect on players. It will have an effect on players. Like, they'll look in it and go, look at all the fallout with that football club. Do I want to be involved in that? I mean, we've seen what's happened with Sancho, what's happened with Antony, Christian Eriksen. Can't get in Manchester United's side. Casemiro gets dropped for the final. If you're Neves and his agent, you're looking, or any player in fact, looking in on that, you're going, maybe we need to give that one a little bit of a wide berth. Maybe we shouldn't just jump straight in because it's Manchester United. Maybe the ship isn't as settled as what it used to be, and we just need to be a little bit careful, because we've seen careers at Manchester United be completely destroyed. Certain players come to the football club with big reputations. They are the next thing. They are good players, but it just doesn't work at the football club. Is that the manager? Is that the expectations, the pressure of being at United? There's a lot that needs to be looked into for players coming to the club, but also on the other side, the players coming in need to look at what's happening at the football club as well, and then make their decision on it. It's not just a one-way street. Is he good enough for Manchester United? Are Manchester United good enough for him? That's the question that needs to be brought up as well, and I'm sure agents, players will be looking in on situations that have happened with other players, the fallout that's happened, how one player's getting more game time than another, he's being paid more than another, because you know that that's going to come into the situation. It's like, well, Neves' agent's looking in right now, or any player's agent's looking in right now and going, well, last season you bought Mason Mount and put him on £250,000 a week. He's hardly played. So what's my client going to be on? It's a tough one for Ineos to actually break the mould of, because the old regime, a lot of agents will be looking in on that and going, that's what we would love, because we're getting mega money. And let's not forget, agents do get driven by money, and it's not just about the player. As much as they like to put it out there like it is all about their client and getting the best deal for them, let's not forget they're getting a decent chunk out of this as well. So let's balance that in the old argument. But still, I feel like every player that we've spoken about so far, I think is right. I mean, like Neves, definitely, I would take him in a heartbeat. I would. Inacio, there were talks yesterday regarding him. I didn't go into too much detail on that because I know Liverpool are chasing him as well. At the end of the day, like Europa League or Champions League, Liverpool or Manchester United, that's what we're up against now as well. And that's down to Ineos to try and convince a lot of players, because there are better options out there for these players. You've just got to look at what can Ineos offer these players, like the project, taking United back to the top again. We have got the Europa League, which may help a little bit. Into the chats. I've been going on too much there, sorry guys. I can't concentrate on transfers until this manager situation is addressed. It's ridiculous now. It is, it's getting there. What are we on now? Tuesday, 4th. We're nearly, by the end of this week, it's 2 weeks since the FA Cup final. Like, the review should have been sorted by now. Southgate ordered his red waistcoat last night, ready to join us after the Euros. Shut up, Leo. I told you, no swearing on this channel. Let me see now what else we've got here. I think we do have a new member in the house as well, in Jamal. Welcome to the Members Club, my friend. You are more than welcome. Make sure you go and have a little watch of the members' videos as well, Jamal, and what's actually on offer there for the membership section. Please give the video a like, guys. We're almost at that 100 like mark. Just a few, actually, just 3 likes away, so I'm sure you can go and smash that. Jamal also says, Ten Hag out. Jamal wants Ten Hag out, by the way, everyone, just so you know where he stands on that. We need 2 defenders and a striker before concentrating on midfield. Get to January and then buy the midfielder. Completely disagree, Kevin. We need a midfielder. It's as much a priority as it is the centre-backs right now. We cannot go into the season without a midfielder. It needs to be up there. I understand centre-back. I would take, honestly, I would go central midfielder and centre-back before the striker. And some people may think that that's crazy because of the injury record with Højlund. I know we need a striker, but Manchester United's structure, if you want to make a style of play, then you need to have a defensive setup and a midfield setup. You need to build from the back. It sounds old school, I know it does, and this is just my opinion on this, but them areas need rectifying because we have been bypassed. The biggest issue United have had this season, what is it we've all been talking about? The amount of shots that we concede. You cannot concede the amount of shots that United have. Whether Ten Hag thinks it's all right or not, that was the most ridiculous comment that Ten Hag ever made, that isn't a problem. Of course it's a problem. And Anna's had more shots than bleeding Sheffield United this season, and we've lost 14 games. It works side by side. If you're going to concede shots, you've got a higher chance of losing games. We've lost more than we've ever lost in the Premier League history. It does matter that we're conceding shots. We've been bypassed time after time after time. We need an element of control in games, and we need to be hard to beat. We have to go back to basics again, sadly, and just make it difficult for teams, and then work on maybe a bit more of a style of play on top of that. I think that has to be priority. So where I understand what Kevin's saying there, I do disagree that midfield needs to be sorted drastically. Whether that's keeping Amrabat, getting rid of Casemiro and bringing one more in, get the defenders in. I do think we'll have time to get all 3 positions sorted this summer. If you can't get 3 players through the door, then I give up on Ineos straight away in the first season. I don't think it'll come to that. Bruno, Mount, Amrabat, Mainu, Scott, Donny, we have options. Anyone who comes in has to be clearly much better. Donny, see you later. Jonathan, he shouldn't even be mentioned in that. Scott is a reserve player, so that's them 2 gone. Mainu's a starter, Bruno's a starter, Mount, when ready, is a starter, and Amrabat. We've got 4 out of that list that you just said there, Jonathan, that are starters at Manchester United. You have to have someone coming in better than Amrabat and Mainu. That's the signing that United should go for. I agree on that side of it, because United shouldn't be buying prospects and players that come into the squad. United need to be buying 3 players that are going to go right into that first team that are better than what we've got. And that's down to Ineos and what they can do. So let's see what they can do on that side of things. It's a big sell, isn't it, really, to try and get players in at United with everyone else that's out there in better positions than us. I mean, we're talking about all of these players here, but you've got to remember the likes of Chelsea, Villa, Spurs. This isn't even bringing in the top 3. Like, the attraction is there in the Premier League at other clubs right now. And that's what you have to throw into all of this. Other news, and moving on from the players, I quickly wanted to talk about Manchester United and something that we drastically need, which is about communication. Because I don't know what a communications officer will do or will bring, but Manchester United have got a new one. Toby Craig, never trust a man with 2 first names, they say. It's an old saying, isn't it? But Toby Craig, formerly of Chelsea and Manchester City, is to become Manchester United's new Chief Communications Officer. Craig, who worked with incoming CEO Omar Barada, will replace outgoing Elliot Norman. Craig will report to Berardo when he joins United on July 13th, but will start his role on Wednesday. So we have another member of staff coming in to Manchester United. On top of that, despite the job title remaining the same, it is thought that the role has been substantially rescoped, while Norman was also tasked with marketing, brand, content and fan engagement. Craig's focus is likely to surround communications and public affairs. That's from Mike Keegan on that story there. But yeah, new communications officer at Manchester United. Well, we would like to know more. Whether or not that means that his job is going to involve fans and letting the fans know, communication side of things, God knows. God knows what's involved. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's another role that's been filled, another position that's sorted, but all we care about is the manager one. Like, just get that one sorted. That's all the fans want to know. That's all the fans care about. Everything else will fall into place after Eric Ten Hag's situation is dealt with. Honestly, like, great. We've got another one who was part of a success story at City, someone who Berardo likes, which is always a good thing. Fantastic. That's all I've got to say about that. Nothing else really. What is there to say about it? It's good that we're getting things sorted behind the scenes, but again, just a deflection away from what really needs to be done at the football club. I'm going to read through Crystal Palace becoming popular. Look at Glasner now over there. Amy, in terms of how they play, definitely. Like, how a manager can implement a style of play instantly like that. And obviously they've got the second season syndrome, so let's judge him next season as well after a long, drawn-out season. It's always harder, but still, it is impressive what he did very quickly there, and some massive results as well. I mean, to beat Villa 5-0 and beat United 4-0 in the last few games of the season, both teams that are up there in the top 8 of the Premier League, beat Liverpool away from home as well. Yeah, they've got a good team, Palace, and he has definitely jumped onto what is good about that Palace side, Glasner, and has made a lot out of Crystal Palace. And they are a decent outfit. It'd be interesting to see what their summer goes like if they hang on to players and who they recoup, who they actually bring in after recouping the money from them sales. So will be one to watch, Crystal Palace. Jamal says, Ten Hag has no style. He always blames other things, such as injuries, and he never takes responsibility. We had the worst season ever. I would like Tuchel in. Jamal, I think he's been watching my shows, Jamal, hasn't he? Mark says, we need to think we have a manager now until he is sacked. Are we just going to say the same thing every show? That might never happen. Now, like I said at the top of the show, Mark, like, business as usual for Manchester United. We have to get on with the player side of things. Like, if Ineos have got a style of play and they just want a manager to come in and coach, there's no reason why we should not just be getting on with business as usual in the transfer market. We cannot wait any longer. We know this. We're on a tight time scale. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Phil Townsend was a good chief communication officer, never been properly replaced. It says Graham. See, Palace manager is literally an admirer of Ten Hag Ajax. Again, that makes it even worse because we just haven't seen we haven't seen that Ajax style of football at United. I personally don't think we had the players anyway to play that style. The longer this goes on, the more I think Ten Hag is staying, says Jonathan. It's like, we don't know what's being discussed in it all, do we? It could be anything. It could be a no contract being discussed. Well, that's why it's taking so long, and they want to announce that. Or it could be that they want to talk to other managers like Romano says we have been doing, and find out when, or not so much when they're going to be available, because everyone we're talking to is currently available. I've just got a little sneaky feeling about De Zerbi right now for some strange reason. Someone's paid off Brighton, we don't know who, and it's gone very quiet on his side. He isn't going anywhere right now. I've got a sneaky feeling De Zerbi has got a part to play in this, but hey, that's pretty much everything covered, guys. Cheers for joining us this morning. New members, everyone involved in the chat, everyone who's liked the video, please give it another like on the way out as well, everyone. I'm just going to finish up the poll there. 85% of you said Neves is the right type of player for United, and that's what we should be going for. I agree completely. For everyone in the chat, thank you for getting involved. We'll be back later on. God knows what news is going to drop, but we'll be all over anything as always. It's going to be a busy summer, guys. But again, cheers for joining us, and I will see you all